What content works best on LinkedIn? I'm so glad that you asked, and lucky for you, the answers are in this week's episode. We're going to get into the details of what makes a standout post that will help your content get seen by more people. G'day, listeners. It is Coach Michelle J. Raymond, and welcome back again to the podcast. And for those of you who have been listening to the series where we're doing deep dives into what will make the biggest difference for your marketing efforts on LinkedIn in 2025. And for those of you who want to grow your business and content is a big piece of that, I think it's important not to just go high and look at strategy, but now let's get into the tactics. What things can you do with your content that are going to make the biggest difference? And we're going to look at the types of content and then also what are the elements within those different types of content that you can put on LinkedIn that make the biggest difference? Marketers, LinkedIn is a game of inches. And what I mean by that is it's the little things that add up over time that will make the biggest difference. So compounding these changes over time is where you are going to see the biggest results. In today's episode, I want to make sure that you're getting practical advice that you can implement straight away and practice throughout the end of this year and get ready for 2025, because there are some things which you're going to be kicking yourself. They're going to be so obvious, and other little things that you're like, man, why didn't I know this earlier? Now, I'm lucky. I've been creating content on LinkedIn for 10 years. So that's a long time. And not everything is about the latest copywriting hacks. Some things are about understanding what humans are doing when they're on LinkedIn. And I think that's the most important piece of this puzzle. Hang around for the whole episode, because at the end, I'm going to be sharing what I think makes the best content on LinkedIn. But before we head into that, I want to share a little bit about our podcast sponsors, Metricool. If you haven't checked them out yet, here's some of the latest cool features that they've released. Metricool has released a few new features that help social media managers to centralize their management and content planning. And two new features include Google Drive and Canva integrations, bringing your content assets directly into the planner. So this eliminates the need to jump across multiple platforms and tabs. A huge win for my LinkedIn community is Metricool's expanded LinkedIn demographic analytics. You can now view followers by industry, function, seniority, and company size. And this data is crucial for creating content that connects with your ideal audience. Also, if you currently add links to your LinkedIn content, you can now enable or disable link previews within Metricool's planner. Metricool just keeps on rolling out new great features to create a truly comprehensive user experience. Read the full article with Metricool's latest product updates in the show notes. Are you ready? Are you ready to get tactical and really dive into what will make the biggest difference with your content? And in this first section, I want to talk about 4 different types of content that I think really excel on LinkedIn that you can implement in your business or on your personal account. Doesn't matter which one, because I think there are some universal truths on LinkedIn. And one of those is I want people to focus on educational content. What knowledge can you share that would help somebody else out in the audience? Now, why do I want you to have a think about this kind of content? This kind of content falls under the banner of knowledge and advice, which LinkedIn shared with us. That's exactly what the algorithm rewards. Remember, the algorithm loves sharing knowledge and advice to one specific audience, sticking on your topic, and generating comments and conversations. It really is that simple. Does this mean that this content needs to be boring? Absolutely not. I challenge you to find a creative way to share your educational content. Think about it. How can you use humor to get your point across? Or maybe you're the contrarian person that has a different point of view to everybody else in the industry. The next kind of content that's going to excel in 2025, and I think it always has, is those personal stories and experiences. AI is here, my friends. It is not going away. We are getting bombarded with generic how-to content. That is not what we're doing as listeners of this show. I want you to come up with a way that you can share your knowledge and advice based on your own personal experiences. That is what really creates the trust with the people on the other side. So think about, what have you learned? Sometimes it's by mistakes. People don't necessarily want you to be perfect. In fact, I would say that they don't. They want to know that you're just like them. Maybe you're a little bit further ahead, and they can trust that because you know what it's like to be them. So by sharing your stories and sharing your experience, number one, you become more relatable, but number two, it really helps you to stand out in a sea of AI content. If we've just had a look at the two types of content that I think you should create, I also want to have a look at the different formats. And obviously we've got images, we've got text, we've got short form video, we've got combinations of those things. You can go long with newsletters, all kinds of different content formats that LinkedIn gives to us. And my advice is always to mix these up because everybody learns differently. But there is one kind of content that is a standout for me right now, and not in the way that it was in 2021 when it was just crazy, but I do think that there's a place for LinkedIn polls still going into 2025. Why? They're interactive content that makes it very easy for people who normally wouldn't engage with your content to make a selection. So keep the question very simple with a yes or no type of answer, only one or two options. Make people pick a side. You'd be surprised at the market intelligence that you can gather with a carefully crafted question with two simple answers. So use that one creatively. I don't think, in my experience, that I'm noticing any particular kind of content stand out more than others. I know that there is a lot of noise around short form video, vertical video formats showing up in the new video feed. And that's very hit and miss. And for some of you, maybe you're never going to create a short form video in your life. So stick with polls. I think that's a pretty good one for everyone and also works across on the company pages. What else are we going to have a look at? Of course, we're going to go thought leadership content. I still think that company pages and personal profiles, everybody that has at least 1,000 to 2,000 connections or followers across either of those things should have a LinkedIn newsletter. I think it's really important that you go deep and build up subscribers. I have personally seen my numbers fall off the cliff, so to speak, at the moment. I thought it might have just been a glitch for a little bit, but it seems to maybe be the new norm. So the numbers of impressions that I could have easily relied on for the last 4 or 5 years certainly have dropped to probably about a third to a half of that. Now, why is the newsletter important? Those subscribers mean every time you put some content out, they will be notified. And so I think that's something that you really should be looking at. When it comes to newsletters as well, they are the most amazing tool that you can repurpose existing content that you've got out there. You can really expand on your thought leadership and help buyers make buying decisions. And this is really crucial for those of you who are responsible for generating leads within your business that you want to convert to paid clients. So think about, if you don't have a LinkedIn newsletter, it's time to give one of those a crack. I actually think so many of you will be surprised that going longer is actually easier and generates a much higher return on your effort that you put into these things. Keeping in mind, the newsletter will also be indexed by Google. That means if someone types a question into the Google search bar and is looking for answers, and your newsletter / LinkedIn article, because they're the same thing, just one's got subscribers, what happens is the results will show up these LinkedIn newsletters. So don't miss out on the opportunity of being discovered, not just on LinkedIn, but also off. After this short break, I'm going to share with you my tips for the elements that make a really high-performing LinkedIn post. Okay, here we are. What are the secrets to a high-performing post? This one, I think everybody's probably got a different answer. So I'm going to answer from my personal experience on my own content and the content that I create for the company pages that I manage. The thing that I think really makes the biggest difference is engaging visuals. Now, this doesn't mean it has to be polished and professional visuals. If you have options for that, that's great. If you don't, I want you to think about what makes a visual engaging. Is it bright colors? Is it something that's distinct about it? So we've talked about distinctive brand assets. What is it when I'm scrolling at 80 miles an hour that I will see on your post that makes me know immediately that is your brand? That is what you need to focus on. What makes you distinct? Now, I think that there's also a huge opportunity for those that are prepared to go into the emotion territory. Like we spoke to Robin O'Connell from LinkedIn a couple of episodes ago and asked him, like, how do we escape this trap of like a really crowded platform? How do we stand out? And he shared with us, it's time to share content that has emotions and included things like humor. So memes and GIFs and things like this can really communicate messages across to our audience without being too heavy. Again, if you can't get someone to stop on your post for long enough to actually read all of that great text, you've lost them. It does not matter how much effort you put into that copy. So think, what makes you stop scrolling? What are the common elements that you've discovered that you like? And does your content reflect this as well? Try something new. An example that I use, most of you that are connected with me on LinkedIn will know that my photos are often me with my big smiley face is often surrounded by bright colors. I wear hot pink polo shirts as part of my brand. And it's lots of fun and joy. And that's what you come to know when you're scrolling the feed. Now, if I mix this up and I use a black and white photo, and I have a frown on my face, immediately my community stops and says, what's going on with Michelle? I need to find out. So I interrupt the pattern by using an engaging visual that they're not expecting. And it is so easy, doesn't cost anything. It's a filter on my phone. So I've found creative ways for people to look out for my content. The other way that I do it, I am the world's worst Photoshopper. To all of the graphic designers out there, they would be rocking in a corner looking at what I create on some days. But they are so bad in some ways that they are funny and people laugh at them and they can't believe that I did that. Never take yourself too seriously on LinkedIn if you're a creator. So engaging visuals. So throw out the stock images, throw out the templates. They are killing your reach and engagement. What are the other elements of a high-performing LinkedIn post? I think you need to pay attention to the hook line, which is the opening sentence or two that is on your post. So the text that goes up above where the audience has to press see more. So imagine if people didn't read anything else and they didn't click on see more, what would they take away? And does that opening line entice them to take some kind of action? And if the answer is no, it's pretty dull and boring, then guess what? We're going to just keep on scrolling. This is the enemy of anybody that wants high-performing content. So pay attention to the opening sentence, the hook line as we call it, and use your friend ChatGPT. It can really help you to improve this kind of thing. So if you don't have a background in copywriting, this is one of the ways that ChatGPT can be really helpful. So literally put your post in and then ask it, how can I write an engaging hook for this LinkedIn post? Give me some examples. And then have a look and go exclude all of the ones that are the overused cliches that make you want to cringe. We don't want any of those. We don't want the ones with rocket emojis, of course, and select one that goes, in your mind, I would stop for that. I would want to know more. If you think about a post, and we've just spoken about the hook line, let's just say that's the top of the post. So that is the very first information that people read. Now, if somebody is pressing on see more to continue reading all of the other content that you've put there, there's one more piece of the puzzle that's really important as well, which is the tail end of your LinkedIn post. And so if you've got the hook at the top, at the bottom, we have what's called a call to action. And this is where we trade the reader of the post. We give them away all of our free content that really helps them and motivates them and gets them closer to their goals. And the trade is the ending to our post. We ask them for something in return. Now, that call to action can often be things like if you want somebody to save the post, if you asking them to comment in some way. The easiest way to come up with a really great close to your post that will help you get the most comments, wait for it, ready? Write this one down, is ask a question, right? This changes your post from being informative, talking at me, to asking me for my point of view. And this is what encourages people to put things in the comments. Why do we want more comments? Because the algorithm loves it. It wants you, as we said at the top of the show, knowledge and advice generate conversations, and comments are those conversations. So having a clear call to action at the end that will help drive the reader to engage with your content is an absolute must. Okay, so far we have looked at what types of content that I think you should be looking at in 2025 on LinkedIn. We've also looked at the elements of high-performing posts on LinkedIn. And now we're going to come around to, in my opinion, something that I think is absolutely crucial if you want your content to work on LinkedIn in 2025. This is my personal opinion about what makes the difference between an average post and a high-performing post on LinkedIn. You are not going to hear about any cheap hacks or any viral templates or anything like that. So if you're looking for that, sorry, you've listened in vain. But I think what I'm about to share is even more powerful. And the element that I want to share that I think you should have in every post is that post is in service of your community. I think when you understand that content not only helps you build trust and gets people to like you, but this is the foundation that you're using as a way to build relationships with people. And you're actually showing them who you are as a person, who you are as a business, and where they should turn if they need more help in the future. My tip is just be a little bit mindful around whether your content has been designed to make you look amazing or whether it's been designed to make the person on the other side look amazing. And there's a big difference if you take a look around on LinkedIn at the type of content that seems to go viral. It is often in service of people. It shortcuts things for them. Somebody's done the research, made life easier. Here it is. Steal my ChatGPT prompts. Here's a list of the top 10 podcast episodes that I've listened to. Here are my book recommendations that will help you advance your career. Think about the kinds of content like that. What could you create that would be in service of your audience that would help them get closer to their goals? Being in service of your community is a winning strategy. There you go, listeners. I have now shared with you my thoughts on what will make high-performing content in 2025. If you're somebody that's been listening into this and you're still a little bit confused or overwhelmed or not sure how to pull this all together, reach out. That's why my business exists. So I offer LinkedIn training. I can rewrite your LinkedIn profile, and the training that I do also covers LinkedIn company pages. So we have all of these options here. I am a resource for you to get the results that you want for your business in 2025. All you need to do is either connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a direct message, or you can go directly to my website and book an intro call with me where we jump on a call and I learn more about what you do, what you're trying to achieve and how I can best serve you to achieve those goals. So don't sit there trying to figure it out for yourself, wasting time while your competitors steal opportunities away from you. I am on your side. We are a team, and make sure that you are following the podcast as well, because we have some awesome guests that are coming up to finish up this year. So we've got AJ Wilcox, Robert Rose, and of course, Anne Handley. Did I mention last week I was a little bit excited about that? Yes, I am almost counting sleeps. Shh, don't tell her. So until next week, listeners, cheers.